Welcome to the Richness of Life podcast with your host, Janet Anderson. Join us as we walk on the path of self-discovery, remembering the richness of life. Together, we will explore the depths of the human experience, hear expert insights, have conversations, experience transformative stories, and learn everyday wisdom. Hey, it's Janet Anderson. How y'all doing? I continue to see you watching, learning, growing, expanding, and building your emotional fitness. Today's episode, we are going to specifically dive into emotional fitness. What does it mean to be emotionally fit? I'm going to teach you step by step how to become emotionally fit. As you've been listening to the previous episodes, you are already building that emotionally fit muscle. We're going to add on to that. The idea of emotional fitness, it came to me in session when I was trying to help people understand what it means to have emotions, the function of emotions, but also what does it mean to be emotionally fit? You might see someone or even have an event of your own where it was like, man, I managed that so well. And then you might have another time where you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea what I was feeling, what I was thinking, and how to manage that emotion. And here's the thing, emotions are like lifting weights. In episodes to come, I'm going to dive even deeper in to the fitness of emotion. Right now, I just want you to have this idea of if I were to ask you to go into the gym, put on 2 plates of 45 pounds each on the bench, and I want you to lift that, bench it 10 times. And if you've never worked out, you're going to look at me and be like, I can't do that. That's exactly how it is with emotions. Emotions naturally happen in our body, just like body movement naturally happens. But if you don't physically build the muscle, you're never going to be able to lift that weight. You're going to get hurt. That is the same with our emotions. We need to practice lifting the weight. Things get complicated when we avoid lifting the small emotions of weight. An unhealthy coping strategy is to avoid the feeling, is to stuff the feeling. But when you stuff the feeling, what you're in essence doing is you're skipping your mini workout for your emotional fitness. If that feeling is stressed or angry or frustrated, you're going to miss the opportunity to build that emotional muscle. Let's use anger since that's one of the first ones we talked about. The function of anger is it sounds the alarm when a boundary is being violated. It also has all of those cousins with it. So do not miss the little teeny weight workout with the feelings of stress, frustrated, and angry. Use the function, feel it, name it, move through it. That is putting the reps in on the anger muscle. Then when a big violation happens, you are ready to carry the load of that weight and do something with it. If all of a sudden a 100-pound dumbbell shows up and it's like you got to move that dumbbell of anger, if you haven't put the reps in on the smaller ones, you're never going to be able to. You're going to get emotionally hurt, just like you would get physically hurt in the gym. Now think about the emotion of sadness. The function of sadness is to help you release things. You need to practice the micro weights of sadness so that when an event comes, like grief or something that makes you really sad that you have to let go of, you are ready and prepared, emotionally fit. What happens when we're not emotionally fit? This is where generational lines become vulnerable, especially around certain emotions. Imagine if I never learned how to lift the weight of anger. I can only lift 2 pounds of anger. But as an adult and a mom and a business owner and a friend and a daughter and just a human in the world, I'm going to get thrown way bigger weights than that. And if I'm only capable of moving a 2-pound weight of anger, I'm going to fall into defense mechanisms which are going to derail my life and my family's life. And I'm also not going to be in a position to assertively set a boundary. We all need to take ultimate responsibility for our life, which means I take full responsibility for all my thoughts, actions, and behaviors that are conscious, so the ones I'm aware of, and the ones that are unconscious, the ones I'm not aware of. Through epigenetics, we hand down trauma that is unhealed on our DNA line for the next generations to integrate and heal. If you do not do your work emotionally to get yourself emotionally fit, you are asking the next generation to do the work. Eventually, if you look back far enough, you will find a generation that hadn't done their emotional fitness. You might ask, how am I supposed to do this? Think about the basic emotions that we've gone through. Anger, sadness, grief, and then you have all the cousins of anger, so stress, irritated, frustrated. And start using the function of those emotions on little ones and big ones and become conscious of it so that you can start becoming emotionally fit on those little ones and then identifying, oh, this is like a 25-pound dumbbell of sadness. I can lift that. I am ready and prepared for those bigger ones that come. And grief is like a whole workout. It's circuits, it's weights, it's cardio. You can't do someone else's push-ups for them. I just love that. Even though I may want to do my friends' push-ups, I could do push-ups all day long and they are not going to get any benefit in their muscles from those push-ups. That's emotional work too. I can't do someone else's emotional work for them. I'm only responsible for doing my emotional work. I can make my DNA that's in my body that will get passed down to the generations to come more fit, and that will benefit them. But it's not their work yet. It's my work to do. And I've got to clean up the work of the generations before. We all do. What's great though, with the expansion in neuroscience and how trauma is stored in the body, we have all these modalities that really can help you become more emotionally fit. Another visual I often tell people in my office is you can't pretend to do the work. Like if I went into the gym and I picked up some balloon-filled dumbbells that say 50 pounds on them, but they're filled with air, and I start pumping out some reps on those, am I going to become emotionally fit lifting air? No, I'm fooling myself. I will not be able to move the needle forward in my emotional fitness if I am not really doing it. There are different ways that we fake doing our emotional work and pretending it. Really feeling our feelings, really identifying, oh, this is what I'm feeling. This is the function of that. And I have courage to take action related to the function. That is lifting the weight, not just giving it lip service. The reality is most of us are not fine most of the time. Not that you have to wear your emotions on your sleeve and always be talking about them, but you do, just like your physical health, need to put the time in some manner. If that's listening to a podcast, if that's reading a book, if that's just meditating and feeling your emotions, if that is going to therapy or going to church or talking about it with a close friend, you have to make time for that. If you don't, just like your physical health, you will get hurt. And our emotional health and our physical health really do intertwine. We cannot separate them. I encourage you to go hit the emotional gym. In physical fitness, you have to hit your cardio every 3 days to just maintain what you have. You also have to hit your muscles, your strength zone every 5 days just to maintain what you have. You have to hit your emotional workout and weights every day just to maintain. You can use a defense mechanism that's higher functioning where you say, okay, I know I'm feeling this right now, and I know there's a reason, and Janet's like, this is the function of it, and I remember it. I'm going to put it on the shelf because I can't focus on that right now. But then later, you have to go back and do the rep on that emotion. Don't just let it sit there and miss the opportunity. If you find that there's an emotion that keeps coming your way, oh, I'm feeling frustrated again. I'm feeling stressed again. Oh, I'm so annoyed again. If that emotion, you keep getting thrown 2-pound, 5-pound dumbbells of that emotion, take note. Start lifting that weight. Because right now, for some reason, God wants you to do that kind of workout. Maybe it's conflict. Maybe it's the fear behind getting in the conflict. That emotional dumbbell of fear. Maybe you find yourself facing a 100-pound kettlebell of fear or some other emotion. And you might be like, Janet, I don't even know how to do this. It's okay, we got this. We approach it just like a physical workout. Hey, you got to run a marathon, and you're like, I have no idea, I cannot run a marathon. Well, guess what? We're going to start off real small. We're going to start walking every day. And then when we get that, we're going to start lifting some small weights of that. And then when we get that, we're going to start running for a minute and then jogging for a minute. And we can build slow as long as we're moving in that direction. The same would be true about facing a really big emotion that you know that you have to lift. We start off small with little weights. We build the system around it so it becomes easier. We make sure it's all functioning well. Today, I really want you to grasp emotions as an emotional workout, just like your physical workout. Like dumbbells and kettlebells and cardio. And I want you to think, I want a little light bulb to go off every time. When you feel an emotion, you identify it. I want you to put a weight on that. Yeah, this is about 5 pounds. I'd love it if you texted me or you commented or something. You can also email me, however you can want to get connected to me. And you're just like, hey, Janet, I did a 10-pound workout of uncomfortable today. I just slammed out 10 sets of 50 in an anxiety bench press. Kettlebell swings, I just did 100 kettlebell swings of frustration. I want you to think about it like that. We're going to do another episode where I really walk you through an exercise that I do here in the office. I'm going to give you just some questions around it that I want you to be pondering on. The first question that I ask people, what are the emotions you show everybody? So if someone were to tell me about you, and I said, what emotions does she most likely reveal to you? What do you really allow people to see? Like maybe they would say, oh, she's really happy and she's really genuine and she's very kind and caring. She's loving. Well, I also see that she gets kind of stressed and snippy at times. But the first layer of this exercise is to identify what are the emotions that you really allow to be shown to strangers and or friends or family. You're kind of okay with everyone seeing those, and maybe you're not okay with it. Like, I don't really like everyone to see when I'm irritated and tired and stressed, but I do let it slip out. So what is the emotion that is right there on the surface? Write those down. Take note of those. Then the next is, what are the emotions that are right underneath that, right behind it? The emotion that you're feeling right before the one that you allow to get expressed is. Or what are the emotions that you don't really show anybody? For example, I might be scared or overwhelmed, but I don't really talk about that. I come into the emotional gym and I see the overwhelmed, and I'm supposed to lift that, but I don't like lifting the overwhelmed kettlebell that's 20 pounds. So instead, I grab the irritated 5-pound kettlebell and I work out with that instead. So then when people come into the gym, they see me working out with that 5-pound irritated. But what is behind it that I'm really supposed to be doing is the 20-pound overwhelmed kettlebell. And then if I'm not doing that one, the overwhelmed one, what's the emotion right before that one? What am I feeling that I'm supposed to be lifting in my workout right before I feel overwhelmed? Maybe that's an emotion I only know. And maybe a spouse or someone really close that you can't hide it from. So let me think, what would be a common one? Everyone sees the 5 pounds of irritated, short, snappy. They don't see the 20-ish pound kettlebell of overwhelm that I'm supposed to be lifting. And for sure, they don't see the loneliness, 35-pound plates on the bench of loneliness that I'm really supposed to be lifting. And then go even farther. What's the emotion right before the loneliness? Maybe I don't feel like I belong. What would that weight be? Oh my gosh, those are the 25 pull-ups of not belonging that I'm supposed to be doing. Then you go even farther. What's the feeling right behind the not belonging? Maybe there's fear. Maybe there's unlovable. Oh my gosh, that unlovable, those are those back squats with the 45-pound weights on each side. I'm supposed to be able to squat that much unlovable. And remember, all of these emotions I'm going through have a function. They're sounding the alarm for something. I'm going to help you become emotionally fit, like a rock star warrior made in God's image. And you're not alone. You got legions of angels all around you. We're going to work our way up to that squat rack of unlovableness. You can go even farther as we're getting into what are called core wounds. What's under the unlovable? Maybe I'm insignificant. Maybe I don't really matter. And you know what that feels like? That feels like a 500-pound weighted vest that I'm supposed to do air squats with. No way am I ready to lift that. Feeling insignificant is an emotion, and God gave us our emotions for a reason. There's a function, and even insignificance has a function to it. I'll let you in on it early. If you're feeling insignificant, it's sounding the alarm that you're disconnected to your Maker, to God. And God's saying, come close. I have something for you that I need you to know, to feel, to do. When you feel insignificant, it's sounding the alarm that you're disconnected from your higher power. Slow down, meditate, go to church, get quiet. Whatever your practices are for getting connected to the God who made you, and that insignificance will lessen, and you'll get the next step forward. In future episodes, I'm going to go through these core wounds like insignificant, unlovable, and many others, and help you learn the function of them. We're going to continue to practice getting fit on those emotions and also making sure you got good technique. We got to learn how to have good technique over these emotional lifts so you don't get hurt. You doing this is taking ultimate responsibility for your life, for all your thoughts, actions, and behaviors that are conscious or unconscious. It doesn't matter if they came generations before you. Let's clean up what we can now and move the needle forward and hand down as much wisdom as you can to the generations to come. I do love to think about how the solutions to the world's major problems and disconnections are on the other side of someone's healing. On the other side of someone integrating some trauma in their DNA, taking a pain wound, healing it, and harvesting the wisdom for themselves, their family line, and the whole world potentially. It's just so cool. I love it. I love this work. So today, in closing, emotional fitness, becoming emotionally fit. Go back to episode 1 and listen for the function of emotions. Become emotionally fit means you got to know the function of emotion. We're starting with the basics. And then kind of practice that exercise, or what are the emotions I allow people to see? What are the emotions right before that one that I'm not wanting to do the workout with? What are the emotions behind that? What are the emotions behind that? Eventually, you're probably going to hit a core wound. And along the way of you doing that, we're also going to identify beliefs. As you get closer to the core wound, all of a sudden, you're going to have a belief system that kicks in. In the example that I gave, where it was irritated, overwhelmed, lonely, scared, or maybe it was scared, lonely, overwhelmed, unlovable, insignificant, and then that was the last one, insignificant. There will be a belief, a cognitive construct, a thought, a belief that you start operating on. In the physical world, it could be something like, I could never run a marathon. In the emotional world, it could be like, loved ones always leave me. No matter how hard I work, no matter how much work I do on becoming emotionally fit, Janet, I'm not destined for greatness. I'm destined to fail. It could be there's no point. It could be loved ones leave me. It could be that the world is not safe. but we can identify those along the way too. So as you're doing that exercise, just as a little practice before we really dive into the deeper episode on it, I want you to listen for the thoughts and jot those down as well. And if anything comes up that's like, oh my gosh, I just uncovered this huge, massive workout that I need to do, don't hesitate to reach out for help. You can go get a therapist. You can get a life coach. You could reach out to me, reach out to a family or friend. Don't hesitate. Everyone has to be emotionally fit. No one is immune to human pain and suffering. Neither we do the work or we don't. Either it gets better and we do the work, or we don't do the work and it gets worse. I wish you the most blessed day, week, and life. I pray protection over you and your family and your loved ones, and even your neighborhood and community, especially as you dig deep into your emotional workout. You can become emotionally fit. Your body is enabled. It is set up. It is divinely made for this work. Until next time, many blessings, everybody.